Okay, so welcome back. We are going to take a look at App Inventor, and I thought a good way to do that would be to walk through your first assignment, and that way I could show you kind of how to complete it and show you a few things about the software along the way. It is cloud-based, but we'll go through logging in and all that kind of stuff too. So it's I don't know, so you get more familiar with it once you get to play around in there and see what it's all about. So I think you'll have fun with it. All right, so we are going to do an assignment from chapter one from the book that I talked about briefly in the other video. So it's this book. Let me right here. So App Inventor 2. So create your own Android apps. It is from Dave Woberl. You can see all the people I talked about before. So Hal Abelson. In fact, he has a connection to this assignment today. But this particular chapter, remember, you don't have to buy the book. It's all available via PDF for free. So gotta love that. So that's what this is right here. So this is the PDF of the first chapter. And so you can open that up and kind of walk through it. So I'm just going to kind of roll along with this, and it'll let me talk about things as I go. So you'll notice up here I have another link. So probably the last time you were in in Canvas, you saw this was the last link. Making sure to install this MIT AI2 companion app from Google Play. But there's also a link right here. So this will take us right to the actual site where the software is, and you log in and all that kind of good stuff. You have to have a Gmail account, so hopefully you have that all set up now if you didn't already. And we'll take a look at that. But I want to skip ahead just really quickly and show you a couple of files that we're going to need today. So we're going to create an app, this HelloPurr app. If you've been in coding classes, a lot of times you'll see the very first app that they'll do or very first program they'll do is something called Hello World, just making the computer say Hello World back. And so there's that kind of thing. But for this one, we're going to use HelloPurr, and it's going to look something like this. So if we imagine this is a screen, we've got this HelloPurr app, we've got this little, just says pet the kitty on there, and we've got a picture of this cat. So we'll take a look at this a little bit later on, but we're going to need these images. So one of the things it's going to do is when you touch it and pet the cat, it's going to meow. So we need a meow sound, and we need the picture of the cat. So those are right here, these two pieces right here. So let's go ahead and download those so that we have them. All right. So if you click on the little kitty piece, it's going to come over here and it's going to say download the kitty right here. So it's a PNG file. So I'm just going to go ahead and just click it and let it go to my downloads folder, or you can right click and say, save link as, and point it to someplace else. But for me, it was just go ahead and throw it in the downloads folder. So that's in there now. I'm going to cancel out of there. And then if I click back, I'm going to then click on meow and download meow to my folder as well. So both of those have downloaded now, so I'm good on that. I'm just going to close out of that. And then click back one more time. And now we're able to go ahead and go to where this MIT App Inventor link is right here. And if I click on that little baby, you'll see it comes up to this, and I can say open MIT App Inventor 2 in a new window. So that will roll into here. It should. Oh, mine shows projects, and then it's going to roll into the update. Okay. If you have not logged into this before, yours will do this once you've logged in. Mine's already logged in. This is just a little thing. Things been updated. Don't really care about that too much. You could check the box that says don't show this again if you would like. I leave all those on there so I can see when something's been changed. But I've already logged in. So your link, when you click on this and roll over, it's going to ask you for your Gmail login. So you're going to have to log into your Gmail. I already have mine. I'm already logged in, so it skipped that step. And once you've logged in, it'll skip that for you too. And we'll roll into here. All right. So this is App Inventor. So it doesn't say 2 up here, but this is the second generation. It's been changed a lot of times. They're updating and adding things all the time. But so they just leave it as MIT App Inventor here. We've got all sorts of things to talk about in here. There are things in here that you'll never use because it's very complex, and there's a lot of really easy things for us to be able to play with. And we'll build on. We'll start out small, and then we'll build and add things and do all sorts of cool stuff. So this is the designer view. and we'll do the interface work as to what what's going to go on the front of the device, whether it's a phone or tablet. And then behind the scenes, you can see on here designer, and this is selected here now. If I click on blocks, we're going to go over here after, and there's all sorts of blocks where we'll do the coding. So we'll do that after we do the interface design. All right, so if we start over here, you'll notice up at the top there is a menu. So we've got, if we had multiple screens, we'll stay at screen one for these assignments for now. But if you go up to projects, and if you click on my projects, it'll show all the ones that you have. But I'm going to say start new project. Okay, and for my project name, I'm just going to go ahead and say hello per. And then I'm going to click OK. HelloPurr. Oh, well, of course I already have that name. So let's just do HelloPurr with 3 R's, see what happens. All right, beauty. So that works. So here we've got the name up here, and you'll notice that there's no space in here. Can't use space, characters, special characters. So alphanumeric, as you're putting these together, and you've got to make sure that, in fact, let's do this again real quick. Starting a project, and we'll do the same thing. So if I said hello, I don't know, I'll do a space in here. See, it says project names can't contain spaces. So maybe I say hello per, and I can add numbers there. So I can use my alphanumeric. I'm going to go ahead and do 4 R's this time. I have to go in and clean out my projects folder quite often because I end up with a lot of different things in there. But anyway, that's okay. So here we go with the piece. You'll see your name will appear here. Whatever you name the project as, there will appear there. As we look at these, you'll see the screen that's listed here. You'll see over here this little section that they refer to as drawers. So here we've got user interfaces open right now. If I want to open layout, it closes the other drawers. So there's only one open at a time, or maybe media, and you'll see as you look at these, there's a little question mark over here. So if I wanted to know, like, video player, what does it do? You can click on that little question mark, and it will give you some background. You click on more information, it brings up a huge glossary of, gives you descriptions of everything, including the options over here is under properties and what they all do and that kind of stuff. So it's very detailed if you decide to click on that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and come back over here to the user interface, and really quickly, what we're going to need for this, let me put this back up here real quick, is you can see HelloPurr listed here, so we'll adjust that later on. And then you've got this little piece here that says Pet the Kitty, so that's just a simple label. And then this is actually a button, so that if you hit the button, which is, petting the cat, then it will activate something, which you want it to meow. Okay, so I have the button that I want to select is just right here at the top. So we've got a button here and a label here. So you'll notice in this particular app, the label is first. Now you can change the order, but I'll go ahead and drag them in the same way. So if I want to add this particular label, I can click on this and just hold the mouse button down, drag over, see where the blue is, and boom, it puts it right there. So text for label 1, that's a default. I'm also going to need that button, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that, drag it over, and put it here too. Now, if for some reason you got these out of order, you can just move them around. So notice the blue line, so I move the button above, so I can pull this down over here, okay, and we're all set up. Also, the options on the right-hand side where it says properties, these will change depending on what you have selected. So I can click over here, or I can also go under components, and for here we have screen 1, and then we have label 1. Notice things are changing over here. So label 1, button 1. So you can see things like, font size. You can get rid of the text that's in there, or maybe we want to change it. In fact, let's just go ahead and change this one. So we know that we don't want it to say text for label 1. We want this particular one to say, this particular label to go ahead and say Pet the Kitty. So I just got rid of what was in there, click Pet the Kitty, and as soon as I click someplace else, notice how boom, it updated it. Okay, so that's the piece there. Now, if I want to go back to it and change it up a little bit, let's see. What do they have on theirs? They had it. It looks like if you look here, it's a blue background with looks like yellow font. Don't really know why. It could be anything, but just to show you that there's things you can do. So I'm going to go to this particular label again. I just have a button and a label. But if I want to change that, I'm going to go ahead and go down, and I want to say, Let's see. Let's do text color first. So we'll change the text color to yellow. All right. So we've got that piece in there. And then the background color, they had it as blue. So we can select that there. You could pick different colors. I really don't care on that as long as it's legible. So make sure you are checking that. All right. Another thing I'd like to point out too, and they don't show you this I don't think in this chapter, but make sure that you do this. So I'm going to go ahead and just move around so you can see them changing here. But if I pulled this little label right here. Let's say I had a bunch of things in here, but I don't know which one it is because it just says label 1, label 2, label 3, all that kind of stuff, right? So instead, make sure that when you're doing these that you rename them. So I'm going to hit rename. I'm on label. Leave label so you know it's there. But this is a typical naming convention. I think they follow this in the book too. So I'm going to go ahead and label this one as I don't know. I'll just call it pet label. We'll leave it at that for now. Okay, and I'm going to leave that on there. All right, and then for the button, I'm going to change this. I know that I'm going to go ahead and take the picture of the cat and put it in here for this particular button. But we don't have the cat pictures uploaded in here. So we went from Canvas, where we had this picture in here, and we clicked on it, downloaded it, and I just let mine go to my downloads folder. So if I click back over here, it's not in this project. Remember, this is cloud-based, so we have not put it into our MIT App Inventor cloud yet. So the way that you would do that, let's do that real quick. So the way that you would do that is over here, you see where it says media. So I want to upload a file. If I click upload file, it's going to say, okay, choose a file. And I'm going to go to, let's see, downloads. And here are the two files. I just have mine by date modified. I don't know, I just always do that. And so here's my meow file and my kitty file. So I'm going to go ahead and click on meow and let that up. Oops. Meow. Say okay. Say okay. It's uploading it, and boom, there it is. So I'm going to click upload again. And this time I'm going to get the kitty one. And say okay. Okay, so now I have both those files in there. So I have the sound effect that we're going to need later and the image file that we're going to use. Okay, so we have over here on our text, if I want to change this, remember I can click on this right here and click on rename. And I'm going to change this. There's the old name. I'm going to change this from button 1. And I'm going to call this, I don't know, kitty button. I don't know, for whatever. As long as you know what it is, then you're good. And you'll see as it becomes a little bit easier as you get different pieces to the puzzle. And if you had a bunch of different labels, you'll end up having to be a little more descriptive. But anyway, that gives us that too. So you want to get in the habit of labeling those. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and since I'm on the kitty button now, I want to go down here to image and see where it says none. If you click on that, it will pull up things in your media drawer. So if I click on kitty right here, and then I'm going to say okay, and notice how it becomes the background for that. So we want to get rid of this little text for button 1. That's where we would type something in there. So highlight that and hit delete, and then it goes away. We have one more piece that we have to add right now before we move on. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've added the kitty picture on here. So we've got that piece, but we definitely need to add the sound. So we already have the import. We have the media for meow. But we're going to go ahead and add a sound in here, and we're gonna use it. And sounds will be found if you look at the little media drawers. And if you forget, you can kind of roll through, or it's kind of logical once you get playing with it a little bit. But we've got layout next. Then if you look at media, we've got maps, sensors, all these different things in here. But we're gonna go to media, and that's where we have sound. Okay, so we'll have video player that we'll use. We use text to speech. We use actually quite a few of these in here. But for now, we're going to just use sound. And now when you click on sound and I drag this over and I put it in here, you'll notice it drops down below. So couple different types of components that we're dealing with here. We're dealing with visual components like a label or a button. And then down below, we have non-visual components like sound, or if we were to use, a video player or something. All right, so we have a sound effect here that we're going to use, and we're on sound now. And so let's go ahead and go over to source. So here's our little sound, and I can rename that just so we make sure we. I'm gonna come over here. I'm just gonna call it meow sound. Okay, and for my source, I'm going to click on it, and boom, there's meow right there. Click on it, and we've got our sound effect is on there. Okay, so we're ready to. We've got one thing that we'll add at the end, but for now we're ready to move on to the block. Oh, no, we should clean this up a little bit. Okay, so let's see. If we take a look at this, we've kind of got a lot of dead space down here, and this is really small. So this little Pethy Kitty. So I'm going to go over here to the label. And I'm going to change the font size. Now, some of you may have already done this when you were messing around, but I'm going to change this, I don't know, 24 maybe? That's a little better. Yeah, not too bad. And let's see, let's go ahead and adjust this too. So I'm going to go ahead and click on screen, so the overall screen where it says screen 1, because that's kind of lame. And I'm going to kind of roll down here to where it says title, and this is where we could put something like HelloPurr. If you wanted to, oops, let me change it so you can click away so you can see it up there. And if you want, you can actually make the title invisible so it disappears. So they have little options like that. Honestly, the best way to check this stuff out and see kind of what it does is just play with it. There's all sorts of things that you can mess around with as you are, working on the assignments. Try different alignments, try different things, as you're messing around. So anyway, so we have the kitty button here, and we're gonna make our cat purr. Just a quick note, just in case you're curious, where did this picture come from? This is actually a famous picture of Hal's cat. So Hal Abelson, co-author of the book where this came from, computer science instructor at engineering computer science instructor at MIT, has been there forever. I think probably before I was born. Really, he's had to have been there 50 years. I don't know, maybe not 50. Sorry, Hal, but a long time. So when I was back last summer, Hal was one of the instructors in the program that I was finishing. So got to meet him, and one of the topics that came up over the course of the time we were there was the cat. And so if you're curious, it's Hal's cat. His name is Wilson. And in fact, so maybe we even change this a little bit. So instead of Pet the Kitty, if I change this up, I can come over here and go back to label. And maybe I say, instead of Pet the Kitty, maybe I say Pet Wilson. Oops. Pet Wilson. Okay, so that's the name of the cat. Unfortunately, Wilson passed away in 2017, so kind of sad, but he lives on in apps everywhere, so all over the world. App Inventor is used all over the world, and so Wilson's been used in a lot of different apps. Okay, so now that we finished this portion for now, we're gonna add a little something at the end, but we finished this portion for now. We're gonna switch over to the block editor. And so I want to stop now because this has been kind of lengthy going over all this stuff and setting this piece up. So I'm going to stop now, and I'll do a part 2 video in a second for you to see the blocks editing.